Welcome back. This is Module 7, Writing Your Scripts. Okay, so the last module's action items were to build out your hypothesis, start that persona development, and then build out a role matrix for at least one persona. So assuming you did that, let's dive a little bit deeper. So the Send Score value prop, remember, this is my MVP that I built, was to improve email campaigns with 3+ actionable insights. This is my V1 persona, slightly expanded. I believe that every email marketing manager wants to improve their key email metrics, open rates, click-through rates, open to click. Therefore, if I provide a service helping them do that, I make them better at their job. Okay, where do we go from here? What I want to understand is what's missing with this persona in terms of how I think about them and the knowledge that I have. How does my persona measure success? And can I actually help them with my solution? So remember those original questions that I posed a couple modules ago. You want to validate against these. So does your product save the person time or money? Does it make them more productive? Does it make them look or feel better? Does it handle some other sort of utility? Does it save them time, energy, or entertain them? We're going to look at a couple example personas in a second here, but think about with Growth University, we've gone through, again, many different iterations of our core value prop, and we ended up at, we help save founders time. So hopefully programs like this will actually help you save time when you go to market, but you do need to lean into one or more of these value props, and you want to start to get under the hood in terms of how your customers are thinking about you. Does your persona have a fit for your product? And I call this persona problem fit. So do they have a problem that your product can solve for? And here you need to do the work to validate a yes or no. Learning that there's no persona product fit is actually great because it'll save you time that you would have wasted chasing leads that just are not going to be viable for you. What's the current solution? How do they currently solve for it? What products or services that are they using? What do they read or consume? What are they doing in their life that's helping them with a solution to that problem that they have? Here's an example for a company that I ran growth and product for called Red Tricycle. Red Tricycle was targeting the parents of young children. So the success criteria that we thought about was, I'm always looking to be a better parent. Those of us with kids, we're constantly trying to become a better parent. I don't know anybody that's trying to become a worse parent. The problem persona fit here is one way to be a better parent is to find and do amazing things with my kids. It's often hard to find great things to do with them. So this is what a lot of this business was based on, was that persona problem fit. We're only going after parents. That's our persona, and that's the problem. Now here's our solution. Red Tricycle helps parents find amazing things to do with their kids so that they blank, form great memories. They become a better parent so their kids have more fun. These are aspirational, right? These are psychological in nature. And that's what we were going after. What were the current solutions that parents had for finding awesome stuff to do with their kids before Red Tricycle came along? It was friends. It was Facebook, it was Google, it was maybe Nextdoor, and maybe some web forums online. But once we understood that problem persona fit and our solution and how we solved for that solution, we became great at customer acquisition. Sandbox is another company where I was the chief product officer. Sandbox is targeting supporters of military recruits. Military recruits go to basic training for anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, and they lose their mobile phones. So they're truly cut off from the world. The success criteria here was, I want my kid to feel supported when they go to boot camp. Now there's multiple different personas here, but this is for the parent persona. The persona problem fit is writing letters to them will help them feel supported and get them through tough times. Right now, when I send a letter, it takes way too long to arrive. Okay, what's the solution? Sandbox makes it super easy to digitally compose and send letters that get delivered overnight. And the current solution handwritten letters. Now, I had a lot more context coming in because this business had been around for a while. But in the early days of this startup, even before Sandbox was the letter writing app, they had to understand that persona problem fit. What's the true pain point that they're solving against, and what is the solution? Then pricing and the product and everything else fell into line. Don't skip this part, okay? You may already have some customers. Just be mindful that early adopters, those first 5 or first 10 customers, are usually different than most other users. They take more risk. They're early adopters. Don't assume that you know your buyer before you do some of the legwork to net new potential buyers until you have some scale. So don't take a point of view that you just know all of this stuff leading up to this, because when I've done that, one of those failures was actually a result of trying to skip this phase. And a lot of founders do it because we're very action oriented, but you have to do this manual work to understand the validation on your persona. Now, how do you get started? I mean, this is kind of the first big question, right? Like, where do you actually go to get started? First, you're probably going to hustle. It's kind of cliche to say, but almost every startup hustles their way to finding initial customers. Let's assume you've already done a bunch of that. You've already got something that's an MVP, or you're talking about your idea and you've already driven the people closest to you in your life absolutely bonkers crazy because you don't stop talking about your product. So let's assume you've done some of this hustle. In early days, you're almost always going to start with your friends and family, but then it's probably going to quickly be followed by cold prospecting on LinkedIn, some micro paid experimentation, some organic strategy, social threading, conversations, injecting yourself into conversations on social, using tools like Respondent.io or SurveyMonkey, running giveaways, contest influencers. I mean, all of these things are in the realm of what you could do. But until you figure out a channel that you're going to scale in, you'll likely be trying different things to raise that awareness and to find those potential customers. And so you might be in this feedback loop phase for quite a while. So my initial personas in the learning phase, we now need to start learning about our potential customers and understanding what gap we have in that hypothesis that I had around the value that we bring to the table. So again, looking at our role matrix here, email marketing specialists, I don't yet know how they measure success. And I'm not sure what current solutions they might be using. So my explicit goals are to validate how this role measures success, to validate if this role would be helped by my solution, to validate what current solutions they currently use to measure success, and to finally understand if there's conversion potential. Can I convert this persona into a user or a buyer of my product? For the director of email marketing, I don't yet know how they measure success. I think that they use some tools and they talk to peers, and I suspect, but I'm not fully sure what current solutions they might be using. So my goals here for this persona are to validate how this role measures success and understand if there's a conversion potential for them. That's persona number 2. And persona number 3 is the VP of marketing. Are they a decision maker? How do they measure success? So I think a VP of marketing could benefit from my product, but my goal is to confirm that by seeing if there's conversion potential. So put simply, I'm going to go much more direct and try to showcase the value and move to a deal with somebody at a role that I think is a decision maker for a product as cheap as mine. So here's our action items. Validate how this role measures success. Here's an outreach script. Now you can use this on cold email. You can use this in LinkedIn. You could potentially use this as DMs on Twitter. You could put questions that are like these scripts out into social and see if anybody responds to you. So they're meant to be kind of channel and platform agnostic. I will walk you through LinkedIn specifically and some automations around how I've used this. But it's not built specifically for any platform. It's meant to increase the velocity of your learning. So you'll say something like this. Remember, we want to measure and validate how this role looks at success. So, hi, name. I'm doing some research for my startup and is wondering, as a role, how do you measure success for your job? I'd be grateful if you could give me a quick reply. I'm not selling them anything. I'm not asking for a meeting. I'm not saying, hey, it's great to meet you. I am just asking a question. Now, for the problem persona fit, what I want to understand here, so this is one level deeper. I want to understand what the pain points are. So, hey, name, thank you for the clarity. This is on a reply. How do you impact those success metrics? Do you use products and tools and services that help, or do you have online resources that you use? So you go from here. Would you give me a reply on how you measure success? And then, assuming some of them get back to you, thank them. How do you actually impact those success metrics that you just heard about? Finally, if you're at a stage where you're comfortable trying to drive conversions, and this may take you multiple iterations with multiple personas before you're ready to basically pitch, and that's okay, but don't wait forever. You could start to introduce the offer. So, hi, name, really appreciate the reply. I mentioned that I'm working on a new startup, and what we do is help. Now, you quantify the problem by your solution. And would you be open to checking out our site and seeing if you'd use a product like this? Now, you could change that out for, do you want to hop on a demo? Can I send you something for free? There's a million different ways to think about conversion scripts, but this is really the lightest weight. It's the least invasive, and it's kind of a baby step. And I'll get a lot more aggressive with scripts as I go and as I feel more comfortable with a persona, especially as I really truly understand that persona. I would be 100% confident at this point doing outreach to founders, and I do, saying, hey, if we can hop on a call for 15 minutes, I guarantee you I will save you time when you think about growing your startup, because I've had hundreds of conversations to hit that pain point, right? And so just ease into this if you need to, but this is a model script that you can look at building from this template. In the next module, we're going to start to actually do outreach. So I will see you there.